So, here's the scoop. There's been chatter about Offset allegedly hooking up with Chrisean Rock while he was still dating Cardi B. Wild, right? It's the kind of rumor that makes headlines just from the shock factor alone. And apparently, this all ties back to Chrisean Rock's reputation. People aren't exactly kind when they talk about her. She's been labeled as a regular drape on the sidewalk, which, let's just say, isn't exactly flattering. The story gets even juicier. Allegedly, Chrisean wasn't just casual about it. She reportedly tried to homewreck Cardi B on purpose. The claim is that she left her earring or ring behind, intentionally, so Cardi would see it, making a statement and stirring the pot. It's the kind of drama that's almost educational in a sociology of celebs kind of way, a real-life example of ego, attention, and the lengths some will go to assert themselves. Grab a seat, because if this is true, it's a masterclass in modern celebrity intrigue. And the tea is definitely piping hot. Fans had been holding on to hope that things between Blueface and Chrisean would stay sweet after his release from jail, imagining the couple putting their messy past behind them to co-parent their son. But just when it seemed like the honeymoon phase might stick, drama swooped back in like clockwork. In a recent interview, Blueface didn't hold back. He claimed that Chrisean hooked up with Offset while he was still with Cardi B. And we all know how explosive the Cardi-Offset saga has been, especially after Cardi had her baby with Stefon Diggs. Naturally, once Blueface dropped that bomb, the internet went into overdrive. Then Katt Williams chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. According to him, Offset really did link up with Chrisean, and this betrayal was a major factor in why Cardi emotionally checked out of her marriage long before she publicly announced the split. Feeling disrespected by Offset's actions apparently cut deeper than anyone imagined. Meanwhile, Blueface had just been released from nearly 2 years in jail for probation violations. Hours after his release, he appeared on DDG's livestream with Chrisean, rekindling their relationship and giving fans a reason to celebrate. His family even threw a welcome home party to mark the occasion, but things quickly went off script. During the party, tensions flared between Chrisean and Blueface's mom, Carissa Safford. The conflict started when Chrisean allegedly tried to touch Jay and Alex's daughter while she was in Blueface's mom's care. Carissa shut it down immediately, and before anyone could process it, the situation escalated into a heated exchange of words. A few days later, Blueface sat down for his first proper interview since getting out of jail. The host wasted no time, diving straight into the rumors. Did Chrisean really hook up with Offset? Blueface's answer was bold, unapologetic, and only added to the swirling storm of celebrity drama. So, here's the tea. Blueface has been going hard on the rumors about Chrisean allegedly hooking up with Offset while he was still with Cardi B. According to him, it wasn't about him personally. He was already engaged to someone else. He just couldn't stand the way Chrisean tries to make it look like he cared. Blueface didn't hold back in his description, calling her like a grape on the sidewalk, implying that her reputation speaks for itself. He stressed that it's fine if people are doing their thing, but pretending otherwise, that's when it becomes a problem. This wasn't the first time Blueface had accused Chrisean of being involved with Offset. Previously, he publicly called her out on Twitter after she got Offset's face tattooed on her neck. He tweeted something along the lines of, "Being tattooed on a 304 is not a flex. You literally messed with Cardi B's husband a couple of weeks ago. I'm tired of men looking at me while they effing you." Chrisean fired back, denying it all and claiming Blueface was just making things up. While Offset himself also took to Twitter to refute the rumors, insisting he never touched her, but Blueface wasn't backing down. He doubled down with a tweet detailing a specific date and time, essentially daring people to call him out for lying. The plot thickened when fans spotted both Offset and Chrisean at French Montana's birthday party shortly after, and naturally, the internet started connecting the dots, wondering if that was when the alleged incident went down. Interestingly, insiders suggest that Blueface accusations weren't really about Chrisean or Offset. They were about Cardi. Sources say Blueface holds Cardi in high regard because she featured on the remix of his song Tatiana, which propelled his career to new heights. Cardi's contribution helped the track reach number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and nearly 500 million streams overall. For Blueface, calling out Offset wasn't shading Chrisean. It was his way of standing up for Cardi, showing respect for someone who had a tangible impact on his career. Blueface was quick to give credit where it's due. He said Cardi absolutely killed her verse on Tatiana. He admitted he even forgot how fire her feature was until he heard it again recently. That verse, he said, changed his life. He went from grinding in the studio to touring with Lil Baby, making serious money, buying houses, basically, everything he'd been working for finally materialized. And in his eyes, Cardi's feature was the turning point that pushed everything over the top. But the story didn't stop there. After Blueface confirmed that Chrisean had hooked up with Offset, she went on a full-blown rant. Her frustration was palpable. She started by questioning why he even gave that interview in the first place, telling him to quit speaking publicly and to stop dragging her name into the drama. Chrisean didn't hold back, accusing Blueface of being more interested in clicks and views than co-parenting. She claimed he doesn't really want to help raise their son. Any attempts at co-parenting were for show, for attention. She pointed out that while he brags about success and money, he doesn't actually step up to help, leaving her to handle things herself. She also called him out for repeatedly bringing up Cardi and Offset, saying they've been through enough and don't need their past dragged back into the spotlight. According to her, Blueface was clinging to old drama to stay relevant, using lies and exaggerations to paint himself as a victim. She emphasized that she's not bashing anyone else's kids, but Blueface's attempts to manipulate the narrative, she argued, weren't doing anyone any favors. Chrisean's message resonated with many fans. She framed the interview as a calculated move by Blueface to generate hype ahead of a new song. She argued he was essentially using their past friendship and history as leverage, hoping to stir drama to fuel his comeback, even though things were previously amicable between them. In short, she called him out for being stuck in the past and trying to capitalize on conflict instead of moving forward. It quickly felt like Blueface was tossing Chrisean under the bus just to generate some buzz, and, as expected, his interview went viral almost immediately. With Offset and Cardi B dominating headlines ever since she welcomed her baby with Stefon Diggs, fans were quick to weigh in. Many praised Cardi for walking away from the marriage, insisting she had every right to leave a serial cheater who, according to them, wouldn't hesitate to cheat with anything that moved. Just when it seemed like the Blueface Chrisean drama might finally simmer down, Katt Williams jumped into the conversation. And anyone familiar with Katt knows, he's brutally honest, and he doesn't sugarcoat the truth for jokes. According to Katt, the entire Blueface and Chrisean situation is a mess because neither of them is truly ready to be parents. He suggested Chrisean didn't have the baby out of a genuine desire to be a mother, but rather as a way to secure her place in Blueface's life, like her whole identity was tied to him. As for Blueface, Katt claims he's more interested in using the child for clout than actually stepping up as a parent. Katt didn't stop there. He also alleged that Offset's alleged hookup with Chrisean was a major factor in ending his marriage to Cardi. Cardi reportedly wanted out immediately upon finding out, but her mother urged her to fight for the marriage. Even so, Cardi mentally checked out long before the split was official, and when the opportunity came to divorce, she took it, and it's clear she wants absolutely nothing to do with him now. Fans were quick to react. Some commented on the irony. While people thought Blueface was using Chrisean, he was allegedly mentoring her, helping her navigate the industry, and wanting to see her succeed financially. Meanwhile, Cardi is being criticized simply for moving on, while Offset remains tied to the narrative of multiple affairs. So here's the question for the internet. Did Chrisean really break up Cardi B's home? Or was Offset's pattern of cheating the real culprit? The drama's layers are deep, and fans aren't holding back. But to really understand the situation, we have to rewind a little and unpack everything from the beginning. Blueface first thrust this narrative into the spotlight during a viral interview where he claimed that Chrisean had hooked up with Offset while he was still married to Cardi B. Blueface framed it as pure honesty, but for many observers, it looked more like a strategic move to generate attention, classic social media clout chasing. The timing was impeccable. Offset and Cardi B have been practically omnipresent in headlines ever since Cardi welcomed her baby with Stefon Diggs. Any mention of them instantly goes viral, and Blueface knew exactly what he was doing. He dropped the bomb, and within minutes, the internet erupted with speculation, hot takes, and memes. For context, the timing couldn't have been more sensitive. Cardi and Offset's relationship has been dissected in the media for years, from chart-topping collaborations to public spats, from celebrity appearances to alleged scandals. Cardi's pregnancy with Stefon Diggs' child added another layer of public interest, with fans closely watching her every move. So when Blueface introduced Chrisean into the narrative, it immediately caught fire. Fans began connecting dots, revisiting old interviews, social media posts, and public appearances to see if the allegations held any weight. Conversations about loyalty, respect, and the dynamics of celebrity relationships flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The online reaction was swift and polarized. Many rallied behind Cardi, praising her for allegedly walking away from a marriage that had been repeatedly tested by infidelity. She did what she had to do, one fan tweeted, reflecting the sentiment of countless others who framed her as a strong woman taking control of her life. Others, however, questioned Blueface's motives, suggesting he was using the drama to stay relevant, drive clicks, and position himself back in the spotlight. After all, in the world of social media and music promotion, timing and narrative control can be everything. What made the situation even more complicated was the involvement of Katt Williams, who later weighed in, asserting that neither Blueface nor Chrisean was ready to be parents. According to him, Chrisean's motives were more about maintaining her position in Blueface's life than genuine motherhood, while Blueface allegedly leveraged the situation for personal gain rather than showing authentic care for the child. This perspective added another layer to the story, encouraging fans to debate whether the entire saga was about celebrity infidelity, clout chasing, or deep-seated personal issues. In short, what started as a single interview quickly spiraled into a multifaceted story about fame, relationships, trust, and public perception. The combination of timing, personalities, and social media amplification ensured that this would be more than just a gossip story. It became a cultural moment, highlighting the way celebrity lives are dissected, debated, and consumed in real time. Fans immediately rallied behind Cardi, calling her actions and leaving Offset justified. According to many, Offset has long been painted as a serial cheater, someone who would allegedly cheat with anything that moves. From their perspective, Cardi had every right to walk away from the marriage, especially after allegedly discovering that her husband had been unfaithful with Chrisean. Cardi's supporters quickly framed her not as a victim, but as a strong woman reclaiming her life after betrayal. But as with any celebrity drama, the narrative isn't ever simple. Just when it seemed like the Blueface-Chrisean saga might die down, Katt Williams stepped in with his own commentary. And, as expected, he didn't hold back. Katt has a reputation for brutal honesty. He tells jokes, but he rarely lies. According to Katt, the whole situation between Blueface and Chrisean is a complete mess because neither party is truly prepared for parenthood. He alleged that Chrisean didn't have her child out of genuine maternal instinct but rather to solidify her position in Blueface's life, as if her entire identity depended on her relationship with him. For Blueface, Katt claims, the story is no different. He supposedly doesn't actually care about his child and is more focused on leveraging the situation for clout. Katt's assessment paints a picture of two people entangled in a complicated, self-serving dynamic that has less to do with genuine family bonds and more to do with reputation, image, and influence on social media. And then there's Offset. According to Katt, Offset's alleged affair with Chrisean was a pivotal moment in the deterioration of his marriage to Cardi. Cardi reportedly wanted to leave immediately after finding out, but her mother convinced her to try and fight for the marriage. Even so, Katt says, Cardi mentally checked out long before the divorce was official. Once she had the opportunity to legally separate, she took it, and there's little doubt she wants nothing to do with Offset now. Fans have weighed in passionately. Many have pointed out the irony of the situation. While Blueface is being criticized for using Chrisean, insiders suggest that he was actually mentoring her, helping her navigate the music industry, and supporting her financially. In contrast, Cardi's situation is framed as a woman who moved on after being repeatedly betrayed. The double standard hasn't gone unnoticed online. People are quick to defend Cardi's choices while scrutinizing others for perceived missteps, even when the circumstances are complex. The conversation also highlights a larger cultural pattern, the way celebrity relationships are dissected in real time, often with little concern for nuance. Social media has amplified the stakes, turning personal matters into public debates. Every move, every interview, every social media post, every public appearance is analyzed and judged by millions. In the case of Chrisean and Blueface, and the alleged involvement of Offset, fans and commentators alike are trying to assign blame and determine who is at fault. But the reality is that human relationships, especially in the spotlight, are rarely straightforward. It's also worth noting that the Blueface interview, while controversial, may have been motivated by more than just drama. Sources close to him suggest that he views his outspokenness as a way to reclaim narrative control and generate momentum for new music. In other words, it could have been as much a career move as a personal one. Meanwhile, Chrisean's response, her public call-out of Blueface, has garnered her respect from fans who see her as standing up for herself and refusing to be a pawn in someone else's publicity game. Offset's alleged involvement complicates things further. On one hand, if the rumors are true, he bears responsibility for betraying his marriage and undermining the trust between him and Cardi. On the other hand, the public is forced to navigate the murky waters of celebrity rumor versus verified fact. Offset has denied the allegations, while Cardi's actions speak volumes about her boundaries and personal agency. Fans are left debating whether Chrisean's role was that of a homewrecker or whether Offset's alleged infidelity is the real cause of the marital breakdown. In many ways, this saga is emblematic of the pressures faced by public figures. Relationships under the lens of fame are subject to constant scrutiny, with every misstep magnified and every rumor amplified. The story of Blueface, Chrisean, Offset, and Cardi B is not just about individual choices. It's about the intersection of personal lives, public perception, and the economics of attention in the social media era. And yet, despite all the drama, there's a human element that shouldn't be ignored. Children are involved, egos are bruised, and personal boundaries are constantly tested. The narrative isn't just a celebrity gossip story, it's a real reflection of how complicated relationships can become when fame, money, and public scrutiny are added into the mix. Fans may have their opinions, but the truth of what happens behind closed doors is known only to those directly involved. Ultimately, the question remains, did Chrisean really break up Cardi's home? Or was Offset's pattern of cheating the real culprit? From one perspective, Chrisean's alleged involvement is a small piece of a much larger puzzle. From another, Offset's repeated betrayals may have set the stage for the marriage collapse. Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between, in a tangled web of choices, opportunities, and consequences that only those living it truly understand. What's clear is that this saga isn't going away anytime soon. Fans will continue to debate, meme, and analyze every move made by these individuals. Interviews, social media posts, and public appearances will continue to feed the cycle. And in the midst of it all, the lesson for those watching is both simple and sobering. Fame magnifies everything, and relationships, no matter how private they start, can quickly become public property. So, the internet is left with a choice: assign blame, speculate endlessly, or step back and consider the bigger picture. Chrisean, Blueface, Cardi, and Offset are all human beings navigating extraordinary circumstances, and the story isn't as black and white as headlines would have you believe. As fans and commentators, we may never know the full truth, but we can follow the lessons about trust, accountability, and the ways fame complicates even the simplest of relationships. In the end, it's a reminder that in celebrity culture, nothing is ever just what it seems. Every narrative has layers, every rumor has context, and every person has a perspective. So did Chrisean break up a home, or was Offset's behavior the real issue? The answer is probably complicated, but the discussion itself says a lot about how we engage with fame, scandal, and morality in the digital age.